All right. We are back. Another episode, no, a new year for Red Hill Racing Podcast. I'm Ben Knight, joined once again by my co-host, 43X. What's happening, Dustin?
Man, we're just finally getting back to it. We've been slacking. We haven't done nothing on these in a few weeks, and we're trying to get the balls, rolling and everything in motion for the new year. And we still don't have everything rolling or in motion, but
legitimately, we just came up with some backgrounds because our interviewee tonight, Mr. Rodney Williford,
us, man.
We show up and he shows up with a nice clean background on his, and Dustin and I afterwards are like, man, we should probably do better. And so yeah, we figured out enough, but we'll work on our backgrounds. We'll have cleaner presentations.
Yeah, because mine's kind of not fitting right, but it is what it is.
We'll figure it out. But welcome back. This is year 2, and Dustin and I were literally just talking about this. It was ironic because we didn't plan this. We just, this is in our minds, first episode, year 2, season 2, whatever you want to call it. And I went and looked after we started talking about it. This is the exact day a year ago that we put out our teaser, our intro. 2 days later, we put out the first episode. I think it was XDA diaper rule, Man Cup diaper rule. It was a really popular episode on the 18th. So we will be airing this tomorrow, the 17th. So it was, I don't know. We planned it and didn't even plan it, I guess, is the best way to put it.
It's the universe vibes.
Yeah, for sure.
Put us here. It's that time of year. We have a little extra time. So I have, probably 8 inches of snow outside. So
yeah, we got a couple today or last night. I think we got about 3 inches. So
yeah, my daughter wanted to make a snowman today. I'm like, all right, we didn't do it yesterday, but today go out there and the snow is kind of like, it's so much colder today. It's dry. It won't ball up. I'm like, yeah. So I just shoved her down the hill 250,000 times. It felt like, and she had a good time. I covered her in snow once, and I took a lot of cool pictures because I freaking love the way it looks. But
yeah, that's awesome. So we are thankful for everybody that's watching, everybody that's listening, everybody that supported us in 2023. We had no clue what to expect with this podcast going into it last year. We kind of brainstormed it. We threw some ideas out, but no, Dustin and I, we didn't have a set direction. And I think we kind of do now going forward. So we're kind of going to outline that a little bit, right, Dustin? But this year, we grew with the podcast and with you all, not only our listeners, our subscribers, our patrons, but our sponsors too. So we kind of have an idea going forward.
Who would ever thought that the first year of us just doing this, kind of not really knowing what was going to happen, that we were live at PRI?
Right. Yeah, exactly. That was so cool.
It's perfect.
I know we dropped the ball on the actual live at that point, but don't worry,
we were live in person, and we tried to be as live on the internet as we could.
Yeah, and there's always gonna be learning, but man, that was just kind of capping off the year, and then doing our big giveaway with Dustin from Penske a couple of weeks back. So it was just it was a phenomenal year, and we got actually, we ended up with 47 episodes. So not quite every week, but we missed 5 weeks out of the year. That's insane. That's a lot.
Well, let's just say the rough number average on a podcast is 90 minutes, and that's 4,230 minutes of podcast time.
There you go.
That's a lot of podcast time.
So here's where we're at, y'all. We are making some changes for this year. One is that we do not plan on doing 47 episodes. We love y'all. There's a couple of reasons for that. One, we need a little bit more time. We both have a lot going on. But two, we also know that will help us prepare
better content.
And have better shows. For instance, y'all are in for a treat. We got the Pro Street GOAT on tonight, Mr. Rodney Williford. 2 weeks from now.
So, for example, in race season, we get more content because we're racing, right? Yeah. But then we're also super busy because we're racing. So it's a mixed deal. But there's some weekends I have back-to-back weekends, and on a recording night, I should probably be a dad or getting something done in the race stuff. And i.e., speaking of something new in the new year, Ben's having another baby. Everybody.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So we can officially, if you didn't know, yes, that is
I've been dying to say that.
I think we kind of hinted around it.
We did that one time. I'm like, does he want me to say it? I'll say it. Can I say it?
Tiffany, we had our big, I don't know what you call it, big anatomy scan last week, I think. So yeah, everything's going wonderful. We're super blessed. So yes, we will be a family of 4 plus 3 dogs at some point this coming year. So we're super excited. But yeah, so there's a lot going on. But like I said, our main reason is that it gives us a little bit more time, but we really think we're going to be able to deliver better shows for you all, because we'll have more time to plan. We promise we're going to do a little bit better prep job. We're already working on our last minute backgrounds, looking a little more legit. But yeah, we got a lot of cool things going. So it won't be our goal for 2024 this year. We're going to do every other week. But we know, and we're just telling y'all now, there'll be some here and there that are, back-to-back weeks. We're probably going to shoot for about 30 episodes this year. Because we know there's going to be some weeks we just got to jump back on and talk about something. So, we hope y'all are okay with that. We're really going to try and step it up and bring a better program with some more stuff going on. We're just working with some sponsor renewals. So that's kind of going down as we speak. And we hope and plan to bring back some great sponsors. Hopefully most everybody that was with us last year.
We know one that is already.
Yep. 100%. You want to go ahead and tell them?
Spinning ain't winning, baby. Penske Racing Shocks.
Right. Penske, Dustin and Penske, Dustin Zer and Penske, I think were the first sponsors.
They told us from the rip that he was in, and Dustin did.
Yeah.
And man, like me and you gained a really good friend. I mean, Dustin was already my friend, but it's become even more better or more gooder as some
more
people.
Gooder, for sure.
Yeah, more gooder.
You had a great relationship with Dustin, but then
it just got better.
I got
right?
to meet him, and we became tight. Yeah, we couldn't have a better person in our corner and a better company. I mean, that's just phenomenal. Yep. So we
Top
already
tier.
got Penske back. Excuse me. So look forward to some exciting stuff there. So yeah, we're nailing all that down. Dustin and I also, we have some really cool ideas. Could be a road trip in the near future. For me and him, we are throwing some ideas around. Possibly a road trip for a couple days where we go and visit some of our friends and companies that we like to work with.
So if you follow me on Facebook, I went to DME twice this already since race season ended, and a little light bulb had went off. Me and Ben was just talking like we do all the time, and I was like, man, we could go there and kind of just get like a impression of everybody, videos and conversation and this and that. And plus, I mean, if they're a sponsor for us, it helps them. So it's a full circle deal. What brought this up was initially was us going to Penske. And I think that would be very cool for us to go to Penske. I don't know if it'd be very cool to go now because it's probably cold as crap up there. But
snowy,
yeah, I mean, it's like a winter wonderland here. But this is something that we want to do. We just don't know when or how, or it's just like a plan, right? We're saying it first. So if somebody does it, they're going to copy us. So we're saying it now. You little copycats, we're lions. We lead the way.
That's right. We also plan to continue with some videos and coverage and going with some new stuff. Dustin, I plan to bring y'all some YouTube content. That's really, it's just going to be as simple as Dustin and I setting up cameras in our own personal garages and doing a little bit of bike work because
showing some butt crack,
yeah, some plumber crack.
Shop work.
Look, hey, we don't even think twice about doing the things we do, but so it's not, but it's also not that big a deal to just turn on the camera. So that type of stuff, we plan to pretty much probably go live. So it won't be edited. I mean, you might see, Walker running around, tearing stuff up. Our wives
most likely see Ben's dog.
My dogs, wanting treats. They're spoiled rotten. So
my kid might fly by on a scooter.
That's right.
In the garage.
All kinds of stuff. Definitely some cursing because I've never worked on any motorcycle.
Oh, there'll probably be some alcohol in there.
Some alcohol. So, anyways, but we feel like it'd be a cool way to add some more to our YouTube channel because we do post all these there along with racing footage from Racing the Lens. Gonna work trying. We need to do that. We're on the spot now, but our goal is to keep doing that with Kaylee and Racing the Lens.
We told her we were good.
Coverage.
Yeah, okay. We told her we were good.
I can't remember. Yeah. So we're going to bring that back. And we just got a bunch of things in the works. And we figure, hey, if we can share some of our shop work, like my first video is I got to take the shock off my Top Sportsman bike and send it to Dustin Penske for service. So set up the video and we'll have that coming soon. Anyways, enough blabble. We are going to do a giveaway because we still have a few giveaways from to do. So let's see here. We will go to the share screen because we can show it on here. All right, what we got? Can you see it, Dustin?
Yeah, it's pulling up.
All right, boom. Here we are. This is for spinning. What did we say? I don't even remember. It is for a Schnitz Racing gift certificate.
Yeah.
$50. Mr. Dave Schnitz, Ryan Schnitz, Trevor Schnitz, the whole Schnitz family, and all the wonderful employees there. They are all a family. Love them to death.
And Sarah. Did you say Sarah? Oh, okay.
Schnitz, they're all family. I know all of them. Plus, we gotta get Schnitz signed back up. We gotta get a year. Yeah. Here we go. Who's winning this gift certificate? Will it be a repeat or will it be?
Oh boy, is it going to be Baby Bro?
It's not.
No. Oh man, if we're going to do okay, I thought we were going to be.
It still might be.
It might be my brother. Well,
there it is.
It's my brother. I'll be dang.
Congrats, Corey.
He can buy him some parts.
There you go. In case he didn't know anybody.
Well, I'm going to have a list real soon. Yeah, he's going to have to get some stuff for this motor so he can use it toward that.
There we go. Yeah, congrats, Corey. We appreciate everybody that's subscribed and continued to subscribe. Like we said, that basically covers all our software, hardware costs. It helps out. It does. It really does. All right. Got anything else? Oh, we didn't do our due diligence. Our last of our old school sponsor list. We will have a new one next time.
Okay, this is the last one. Right, I hope Hard Times signs back up for this.
I think we might be able to get that. Shout out to Year One, our amazing sponsors. We really do appreciate each and every one of these companies.
Hopefully, I'll just continue with Year Two, and then it's a simple process for us.
Simple. We don't have to change anything, but we know things happen. So.
Ben don't have to make a new spreadsheet.
That's right. Yeah. Hey, chill out on me and my spreadsheets. All right. So, without further ado, we appreciate the support from BMF Motorsports, University of Wynn, Energy Coil. We just did give out a set of coils to a school member. That was a cool year-end giveaway. And Val also gave us a set earlier in the year we gave out on here. We got Knight Marketing Group, Hard Times Parts and Service, Montgomery Motorsports, Manchester Mines, Schnitz Racing, Platinum General Services, MTC Engineering, Penske Racing Shocks, MPS Racing, and Worldwide Bearings. So appreciate the support of those companies in our inaugural year. And we look forward to hopefully having everybody back. Hey, we are starting off with a badass interview with the GOAT of Pro Street. I don't even think that's you can dispute that, right? That's safe.
No, it's the one and only Hot Rod Rodney.
That's right.
Mean, if you don't know who Rodney Williford is, you must be very green at this. Very green. Hey,
we think you'll enjoy this interview. We know you'll enjoy this interview because
a little bit of background. A lot of people don't know where Rodney, how it started. And you'll learn something interesting about stamps. That's something that intrigued me about the conversation. And so now you have to listen, if you're listening to this intro, and figure out what I'm talking about a stamp. And I'm talking about a stamp that's like on a postcard or something you mail.
And we're just everybody that joins us on an interview, we're just
It's
super
always
thankful.
Yep.
Because they're taking their valuable time, and we know Rodney gets into he has crazy schedule. So anyways, we appreciate him taking time with us, but we're not going to spoil it. But the next time you hear from, maybe the next time, we also kind of have some rants we got to get off out here soon.
Oh yeah, not the next time, but the next one. Oh
but,
boy,
yeah.
Me and Ben's going to turn up in here. I'm just telling you because I've got a lot of stuff I want to let out.
Man, I do too. I'm ready to unleash. That might
Ben's worse than me, I think, on this. But
it's my blood.
Ben got me fired up. See, we're getting fired up right now.
So look, we might start the year off with 3 in a row, but we already have an interview lined up for 2 weeks. We can't say who it is. We have another great interview. We know y'all like that one too. So
I'm excited about all interviews, but this one personally, like this person can he can have a YouTube video and it mesmerizes me every time. I can watch every bit of it. So, and they'll never guess who it is by the YouTube video thing. So
for sure. So without further ado, please enjoy this 90-minute interview with the GOAT, the one, the only, Rodney Williford.
Peace.
All right, we have our esteemed guest with us tonight, Mr. Rodney Williford. There's no other way to introduce him besides the Pro Street GOAT. I don't even think that's a debate. So welcome to the show, Rodney. Thanks for taking the time to join Dustin and myself tonight.
Hey guys, thanks for having me. Super cool setup you got here, and happy to be here. And let's rock and roll. What kind of questions you got?
Well, I know that I want to know some history because as much as I wouldn't say as much as you've hung out with Darnell, that's probably the better preface. You've hung out with Darnell more than myself at the track, but we've hung out quite a bit, and I really don't even know how you got started. So, I mean, kick us off with kind of how you fell into racing motorcycles, or was it motorcycles? How'd you get into this thing? Because I think that was before my time.
Yeah.
Maybe
so,
not Dustin's.
For me when I turned 16, I went right after my motorcycle license. I guess as I was a young kid before I even had license, I graduated out of dirt bikes and up to my dad's Honda Rebel 250, and that used to be my cruise it up and down the dirt road and get to my friend's house. That was my cruiser. And
awesome.
And
those
then,
are that's like the pinnacle of a starter motorcycle. Yeah. And just to know where you are today, and you started on a Rebel 250. That's hilarious.
I mean, I've worked on many of them at my dad's salvage yard, and they're good bikes. They really are. So that'd be a perfect little road runner.
Yeah, that was my just beat the crap out of it, run it up and down the dirt road through the ditches, whatever it needed to happen. And that kind of got me started on the motorcycle, like the street bike route. When I turned 16, I decided to go get my motorcycle's license. I got it on the Honda Rebel 250, and the very first bike that I got, like crotch rocket style bike, was a 93 CBR 900, and actually mine was the black, red, and silver. And
they call those a Fireblade, I think. That body style.
I don't know what it was called.
Yeah, they had like a nickname for them. I think they called them Fireblades, the red, white, and silver ones.
Yeah, and it was like pretty fast for then. And I ended up I started taking it to my local drag strip. So I'm in North Carolina. I'm in Bahama, a little local drag strip, 8th Mile drag strip we had here. They're testing 2 nights. We're on Wednesday nights, and I take that bad boy in my little Ford Ranger. So back the Ford Ranger down in the ditch and throw it in the truck and take it to the racetrack and go out there and and for me it was just trying to get better. It was stock wheelbase, just kind of like street bike. And, each week I'd go out there and just try to get better. And then I wrecked it. I wrecked it coming home from work one night, sent it through a fence. Luckily, luckily it punched a hole in the fence. And I went through the fence after the bike. So if I had been in front of the bike, I probably wouldn't be here talking to you today. But yeah, so it punched a hole in the fence. I walked about 2 miles to get somebody to let me use their phone. Came, picked it up. My dad came and got it. And that's kind of how I started learning how to work on motorcycles. Tore that bike to smithereens and had to take it all apart, put it all back together, take the motor apart because it was all jammed up, and get it all back together. And that's when I decided to go ahead and build it a little bit bigger, put a swing arm on it. And, that got me into, going a little bit faster.
Right.
And then the air shifter, and then a little bit of nitrous. And
the gearhead stuff. Here it goes.
Just kind of took off from there. And then I did a lot of bracket racing. So I'd bracket race, did a little gamblers race. They did one of those at Roxborough. Every Wednesday night they would do like a little gamblers race. We'd all put in a little bit of money. And at that time it was pretty cool. You had 20, 25 motorcycles show up for a little test and tune.
Heck yeah, that's a good night.
Yeah, and everybody get in and have a good time with it. I did that for a while, and then in I guess it would have been 02, 03, I started building a Pro Street. No, it was called Outlaw Pro Street.
Right.
Started building an Outlaw Pro Street Busa. So I had a Busa, and graduated from the CBR 900. I had a ZX9 when they were fast. And then I got a Busa, and then I decided to turbocharge it because I thought that was kind of cool. See those guys out there on the Outlaw Pro Street stuff, going fast.
Right.
And I entered the class with Outlaw Pro Street, and man, I didn't do that great. I met when I was there, I met some guys that they had another turbo bike. They were doing pretty good, and kind of struck a conversation with them. I don't know if you know Jeff Nordine and John Clark.
Yeah, those are some
back in the names.
I don't know them, but I know the names.
Yeah, so they were Pro One turbo systems, and that's when we put my little Outlaw bike together. The one that didn't have suspension on it, was rigid. So you might have seen pictures on that bike. So it was a rigid suspension, and that was the bike that we won. We won the Outlaw Pro Street Championship the next year. With that bike. Yep.
So you got into the class, and then a year later you won it.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly. So the next year we brought a bike out and won the championship with that bike. And then that created a lot of it's the same drama we have today in Pro Mod, right? PDRA Pro Mod created a lot of drama. They basically kicked the turbos out. From Outlaw Pro Street after that, and the class went away pretty much 2 years later. So I didn't really have a class to race in, and I bought Jason Miller had sold his, they called it 60-inch back then, had sold his 60-inch bike to a guy. I forgot the guy's name. He sold it to a guy that was just going to use it as like a trophy piece. And I bought it from him and started racing. I guess it was 60-inch, and then it changed to Pro Sport bike. So it was 60-inch, and then they changed some rules to bring some other riders in and called it like Pro Sport bike, and did pretty good with that. I was never it wasn't like a hand clutch, but it was a multi-stage lockup style deal, and I wouldn't consider myself like a hand clutch guy.
Right.
So I did okay. I think I went 680s on that bike. And
680s on it?
No, sorry, say 780s. I got 680s. I said 780s was the deal. 780s was the deal then. Yeah. And then people were going 770s and 760s. Right. And I saw, when I was running that bike, it was like, oh, these guys over here running this Orient Explorer. No, it wasn't Orient Express Pro Street, but it was Pro Street. Right. People were doing like shootout stuff, and then it kind of changed over to Pro Street. So I started, building a Pro Street bike, and it's kind of just been. I've been in Pro Street for I don't even know how many years now. I don't even know the first year that I ran.
A long time.
Yeah. So it's been a while, and the class has really evolved over the years.
It's evolved a lot lately. You know what I mean? Like the past handful of years, it's come a long way really fast. Like it's almost scary. Like I remember when 690s was a big deal, and now it's like, that's not even B class. It's crazy.
Well,
just to go back, it's just one of those things where I think a lot of bikes kind of stepped forward, when we allowed, methanol into the class.
Right. Yeah.
Because it was one of those things where on gasoline, it was just, you're tearing up stuff, left and right, and you were scared to go or try to go super fast because you knew you'd be blown up, 2 passes after that.
Or punished by the rule book, one or the other.
Yeah.
Accidentally go too fast, you're in trouble.
Exactly. So I think we sped up a whole lot, when we started running methanol, and then, the turbo, it's kind of weird. I said it in one of my other videos, when folks were asking me how people stepped up, and, I think I said turbo technology because a lot of new people have come out with different turbos, and they've gotten more efficient. But I'm still using a early turbo system on my bike.
That's scary.
Yeah, but it might have been ahead of its time. It was one of those things where we've been fast for a while, but everyone's kind of like caught up now. So maybe everyone's gotten up to the point where we were in turbo technology.
I feel like standalones have a lot to do with it. Like the types of stuff that people are using these days has a lot to do with it for sure.
Yeah, that too. What do you think on that, Rodney? Because I got into bikes like right when AMA shut down. I'd been into drag racing cars and stuff, and I got into bikes right around there. So I kind of missed that earlier, 2000s. But I actually a good buddy of Dustin and I is Darren Burnett. He's the one that, aside from who Dustin and I call our Uncle Jerry, but aside from Uncle Jerry, Darren took me to my very first My Rock event, blew my mind. And I just remember and correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like everybody was running Morelli, Magneti Morelli back then or whatever. Is that, pretty safe to say?
No, that's fair. And so that was,
Atari.
I think that's a good point. It was like, everybody was running Morelli. I ran Morelli for a few years, and then I actually went a different route because I kind of wanted to do my own thing, not to be on the same bandwagon with everybody else, and ran a Pectel. It's a Cosworth kind of race ECU, and it's one of those things where those things are kind of like there's so much in them.
Right.
But we didn't have the knowledge, right?
Or some of them won't even let you access some of the stuff. Like some standalones like Holly, you can't play with the CAN bus stuff at all. Like it is what it is.
Exactly. So I think, with the newer ECUs, and even with the Max ECU that's come out, and you have all these features that are kind of opened up to you to be able to utilize and kind of, write your own write your own I'll say write your own program, so to say, but it's more user friendly. And you got the data logs and everything right there. And you can easily access them. Back in the day, you had to use 3-4 different programs, just one to connect to the ECU, one to, to make a change, one to look at the data. Right. So it was a little bit, I would say, overwhelming. People really didn't want to jump into it and try to make a bunch of changes for fear that they wouldn't be able to get back, to where they were.
Square one.
And so I think that's been nice with the new ECUs. So you're probably correct there. And you know, it might be why people are catching me because I'm still on old stuff too. So I'm still on the old Motec, you know, Gold Box. So my bike still runs on a Motec M400.
I was unaware of that. I just assumed you run Max. See, I learned something.
No, so it's one of those things where, I mean, I've been considering changing. But then that's, you know, that restarts the learning curve a little bit, and not everybody.
It's hard to fix something that ain't broke. You know what I mean? It's just hard.
They've been running pretty good. I kind of got a good handle on, you know, like what it takes in terms of tune up, you know, to kind of gain or, you know, or, you know, slow down if I need to slow down with that. So I don't know what that'll look like if I were to change ECU. So I've been kind of just sticking on what I got. But I
need a test dummy bike to put one on so you can play with it and dibble dabble and learn some stuff, and then put it on yours later.
I do. But then I'd be like, I will probably never change because I won't never have a chassis that's as good as the one that I have now, probably because I've been tweaking, fine tuning, and you know, it's one of those things where people ask me like, you know, why are you so consistent? It's like, I don't know, probably I have 1,000+ laps on the same bike, you know, in same ECU, not making a bunch of changes, just trying to refine what's there. So, you know, that's probably why it's, you know, it's consistent as it is. So I figure that if I make a change, I won't be as consistent. So,
and 1,000+ passes on a Pro Street bike is a lot of damn passes. Like, people don't realize a lot of Pro Street bikes make like 30 a year, you know. And if you made 1,000+ hits on a Pro Street bike, you've been riding that same bike for 20 years.
Well, I mean, it's is it going on? I think it might be going on 12 years, and you know, we go.
You win a lot. You go more rounds than a lot of people too. So
and I go rounds, and like it used to be like, you know, we were there for all the test days, and you know, we might make 5, 6, 7 laps on test day, and get out there and make every qualifier. You know, now I haven't done that as much because, you know, once you qualify well, you know,
what else is there to do? Right? Yeah, I mean, go out there and hurt a transmission or something over a track prep or whatever. It ain't worth it.
Yeah, and people, you know, they actually when I'm sitting there, it's like they were, oh yeah, we're gonna make you make a run this round. So that's what I hear. That's what I hear a good bit in the Pro Street staging lanes now is everybody's getting ready to uncork one. So makes me have to go out there and try to make a good hit. So
you makes it fun though.
Yeah. Well, Rodney, I do want to go back to something. Let's go back real quick because you passed one little detail that I missed. I want to know what got you going to the drag strip. Like how did that
go into the drag strip?
Because you said you were messing around, you know, hauling ass up and down the street, this and that, and then kind of got that street bike. Like, was there?
He's in North Carolina. Anybody? Probably there's motorcycle people everywhere going, come to the racetrack.
You know, I think it was kind of just like
somebody mentioned
much
it.
To do around here, you know, out in the country, middle of nowhere. You know, okay, the track is 10 minutes away.
So it was right down the road. That's kind of influenceable there. So
and I hear my buddies, you know, and I was in high school at the time, so hear your buddies, you know, hauling ass down the road because my house was on the path for those folks to get to the drag strip, so they come hauling ass by the house and beeping the horn and spinning tires and revving engines. So I was like, oh, let me jump in. Let me go check this out. So that's
something I noticed is when he started going to the racetrack, he was using a Ford Ranger, and that's exactly what I did. I used a Ford Ranger with a bike in the back of it. That's funny. Ford Rangers, man.
I had me a Danger Ranger too, man. That thing,
good old trucks.
That thing
good ones.
That took a beating. Okay. Well, I was curious about that, you know, because it seems like so many people are brought to the racetrack from, you know, years of family and so on and so forth. So that's unique, especially with how involved your family is with your racing. That you just you know, found it kind of, I guess, on your own with some friends, whatnot.
Yeah, you know, my dad, he was never really a big drag race kind of guy. no, he's got a lot of stories about tearing a bunch of cars up in the woods. They had a bunch of hot rods and raced them through the woods.
Well, he's a bike guy now. That's for damn sure. We all love seeing him. He's awesome.
Yeah, and Papa Jimmy, that's just like, I think that's the thing that has, been able to just get us, be able to spend some time together.
It's great.
It's common, that's, and he, he's there every race, and he's kind of like the designated driver for everybody, everything. I've never driven my RV with a trailer to the racetrack since I've been racing.
Holy cow!
Dang! Can I borrow him for a few races? Dang!
Yeah, right.
Papa Jimmy drives the RV, and he will not let me get on the steering wheel. So I mean, like, we go we used to go Norwalk, Ohio, and back in the day when it was 15, 18-hour rides.
Man, I thought he just worked really hard at the racetrack and then slept on the way home, and you drove.
Yeah, he does not like for me to drive for some reason. So he's going to drive. He's going to drive.
Well, he's seen you ride a motorcycle, so he's probably like, hell no, he get me hurt, we'll be speeding.
That's wild. That's wild. Yeah. I did not know that. Well, good. Well, good. Well, jumping back to what you said, you also hit on something about that I was going to bring up, and now this is just like my personal perspective. But you said, recently and why you haven't made a lot of changes or really hardly any changes to your bike as of recent is just because it's been so consistent. And that's what I was going to bring up is, when I was first getting involved, like, you were racing Pro Street already, obviously we went through that. But, when I would see you, it was like, I feel like for a solid couple of years, maybe 3, 4, maybe even 5 years, like, you'd run up because you'd hear Rodney's going up, and it was like Rodney's either going to lay down a ridiculously fast pass, he's either going to like wheelie and looks like he's going to crash the whole way down the track, or it's going to spin. Like, there's only 3 options, and I felt like there was like a 33% chance of any of those. Like, so I felt like for a while it was like a roll of the dice, like always could lay it down, but wasn't as consistent. And like I said, don't take offense. This is just my perspective.
Oh, no.
And then like you said, oh my gosh, now it's like, what? I don't even know. The last 5 years, it's like, can anybody run consistently fast like you have been doing? Which I think we're starting to see finally, some catch up there. But man, that was just like from the outside looking in, you went from the wild, crazy, like it's going to be a sight to be seen when Rodney lines up and could go fast, might not. But now it's like, it's going to go fast if you go down the track.
And I think that's, like we used to, it was always, trying to break a record, like that was pretty much like what I was out there mainly focused on doing. Can you go out there and break the record or break a record? And now it's more like, go out there and get your tune up right to race with.
Then win rounds instead of records.
Yeah. So like, on qualifying or test days, you'll see me wheelie, or, it'll get a little wild and crazy. But, on race day, it's one of those things I learned probably about 5 years ago. If you're not winning or runner up in the type of racing that we do, you're just throwing money out the window. Yeah. I mean, I love it. And it's a great hobby, and you get to spend a lot of great time with a lot of great people. But for me, you can only do that for so long, with the family and everybody that, they would have to support here. So I got to be a runner up.
That diesel fuel ain't cheap in that RV, so them wins will help put that fuel back in the tank and get you home. I know all about that life.
Exactly. So it's like, all right, it's going to cost us, on average, $1,000 to $1,500 to get to the racetrack, eat and get home, and fill the diesel truck, the diesel up, and the generator stuff, and it's like
win the race. That's all you got to do. It's that easy.
The race. Don't break it apart.
So, don't do that, because if you do that, the whole thing's messed up. You can't do that.
So as soon as you break some parts, it's over. And that's been my problem lately. I've been trying to race smart, but I've been breaking. I broke a bunch of stuff this past year, and just weird things, not always the same thing, just different things break. But still get lucky enough to win a round, or somebody red lights. And so I just I kind of got lucky a lot of races this year to be able to get to where to the point where I could win the championship.
Yeah, I mean that realistically, it takes luck even in any form of racing. You got to have some luck. I mean, I would rather have luck than I would skill all day long.
But, 100%.
Say it. Rather be lucky than good any day.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's a famous saying for us drag racers. But I mean, it is true. I mean, like most of the time when you look back at a race as a whole, there was one round usually that something went your way that it might not normally go your way and whatnot. But I mean, this year was one of the closest points chases that I can recall seeing. I remember, and I don't know, I'm just going off like my bad memory, but last 2 or 3 years, it's like you wrapped it up before the last race. It's like you go and qualify, and it was done. And then I don't know if but when we were talking with Mark, because we did happen to have Mark on, he was telling us that like there was actually one of the earlier points race, like they kind of messed his points up. They kind of had him around short, they said. And he found out past when like he's supposed to let Chris know. So they didn't make any adjustments because they couldn't apparently per the rules. It didn't change anything. He still finished second, but he was closer. He was I think about 20 points closer.
Yeah, so reality
would have
is
been.
And reality is I think it was everyone was eyeing Jason to be a close second, but I think Mark still had a mathematical chance to win at that last race. Based on the way things played out, me going out I think I went out first round, going out first round and not qualifying super well. Right. It was after I look back and looked at the calculations, Mark, I think Mark had a mathematical chance also to take it. So the same that I didn't do well the last three. I didn't do that great the last 3 events. I got some lucky breaks in the first events and won a couple of races, and then I didn't win. I think it was the last 3 events. So, it turned out to be super close right there at the end. Hopefully that doesn't happen this year.
Right.
We'll
yeah. Gotta set them goals, baby. Get after it.
I went back and looked in the second race at VMP. Mark got, I guess, basically like second round loser points when he actually lost in the semis. So it would have been looking at it would have been like 20 some points. So he finished like 28 points behind you. So he'd have been single digit points behind you. Had that been correct. So ultimately it didn't change the standings, but it was a little tighter than the points show for sure.
Sure. And if that all had come to fruition and he broke a record at the last, at the last event, then, he could have been leading.
Yeah.
So,
which is crazy because it was his first year. Like we had him on here and interviewed him and stuff, and he expected all that stuff in his first year. That's crazy, but he did good.
He had some lofty goals. That's for damn sure.
He impressed me for sure.
We flat out told him like, Mark, dude, that's impressive to shoot for the moon, because that a lot of times, that's just setting yourself up to be disappointed. And he was able to check most of the boxes. So what are you? Yeah, for sure. But obviously you're the champ, so it wasn't quite good enough. But
they're gonna come out swinging this year, so I got to have my guard up.
Well, that was going to be my next question. What keeps you motivated in this class, Rodney? Is it just like to stay there as long as you can, top of the list?
Probably when they're up there saying he's going to have to earn it this qualifier. That motivates the shit out of everybody.
I want to go quicker. There's front half and back half numbers out there. if you put them together, to go a 620 something.
Right.
So I'd like to run a 620 something at some point in time in my career. I'd like to go 200. I'd like to break the mile per hour record too. I'd like to get, I don't even know what it is, but it's got to be like 237 or better.
It's 236 by Greg.
Yeah. So I'd like to go 237 or better.
Might as well just say 240. Send it.
Send it to the upper room. Yeah. You get the right opportunity and the right conditions, I'll try it. We've been finding the breaking point on these engines a lot lately. So hopefully if I can keep an engine together to make it the full pull with the right front half, hopefully we can do it. So,
and on your level, that's one of the biggest learning things is when it breaks, you found out like I got to upgrade this to try to push it a little bit more, or try a new part that may not even work better than what you had. You don't know until you do it. It's expensive and a lot of work.
Yeah, that's true. And it's one of those things where I broke that big fireball, the big fireball at World Cup Finals, broke a rod. And people have been telling me the whole season, to update the rods to the heavier duty rods. But I was like, they're I like my lighter rods, and I've seen a couple of them bend and buckle, but I usually catch them. But this one, it was hurt when I left the starting line, and it grenaded, and that hurts, because that was a full engine destroyed.
Right.
Poked holes in my header, my turbo header, and knocked the seats out of the motor, sent the seats to the turbo, so it tore up the turbo itself.
It tore up everything.
It was pretty catastrophic.
Yeah.
So those hurt pretty bad when that kind of stuff happens. But
people don't realize though, like all that stuff you named off, $30,000-$40,000. Like it don't take long to add up to a lot of coin.
That was that. You're right. It was a $30,000 ordeal. From the busted cams, valves, seats, cylinder, rod, crank.
Cases was bad. Everything. Yeah. Transmission might have survived. It sounds like maybe.
No.
Oh shit!
The rod went through the transmission, and then the first time I've had this before. So the rod, it wasn't a spun bearing. It broke the rod in the middle of the beam up here. So the rod was still kind of like hanging on the crank, and one of the rotations, it sent the rod straight through the bottom of the oil pan. It knocked the oil pan like 2 inches down.
Holy cow! I've never heard of anything getting the pan. Wow.
Serious? Did it go through the pan?
Yeah, it went all the way through the pan. So the
thing turned into a wrecking ball in there. It's a saw blade.
Took the blanket down, and the oil filter, the whole oil filter unit, and everything that it was supposed to be connected to was all laying in the bottom of the diaper. The whole galley, knocked the whole galley off the front of the motor. Actually, that was one of the parts on the video that it was stuck up in the tank, under the tank shell. It was trying to get out of the front of the tank shell. Was part of the front rail galley off the motors.
Oh, that's nuts, man! Like I've seen them blow up, kick a rod, and of course it gets cases blocked, all that jazz. But I've never seen one send the rod through the bottom like that.
No.
That was the perfect storm.
That's actually one of those things that like I was adamant about when talking about, the whole diaper stuff, especially for like when it got kind of across all the classes and all. And like, don't get me wrong, like I think it's a great rule, for nothing else, for safety. But, my whole thing was like, why? Like I've never, now I can say it, but at the time I'm like, I've never heard or seen a rod go through a billet oil pan. So like my whole thing was like, why not have something up front and covering, and I wanted to have like I wanted to get like an aluminum piece made. I was going to have Eric just kind of do a nice belly pan with a forward aluminum, with edges enough. I just didn't really want the whole diaper deal. And, and that got shut down. But hey, now I can say that I know someone who's sent a rod to a billet oil pan.
Yeah. And I'm a believer in the belly pans. I mean the diapers, you know, with the pig mat. You know, I sat down there for what, 20, 30 minutes, you know, after the fireball and the everything, and got back and we started taking stuff off, and it wasn't dripping per se. And we let the diaper down, and there was still another quart plus oil, you know.
Yeah, I mean, without that diaper, who knows what would have happened? You know what I mean? Yeah. It could have been way worse. You could have got hurt. So, they got a purpose for sure. Yeah,
definitely. So, I'm a big believer in those. So we chalk that one up. Redoing that engine, and hopefully with all the heavy duty XD rods for this season, hopefully avoid those.
Sounds like more boost.
Sounds like it, yeah.
Yeah.
I gotta put heavier parts in there, so I gotta make up for it. Turn something up.
Yeah. Well, after that $30K ordeal, how long were you sitting down there before they got with the mic, got the mic in your face? Because that was probably the only, I don't even know if you call it positive, but you certainly had the whole motorcycle world plus some just on their ass laughing, and just like, I mean, ultimately we're all just so glad that, you know, nothing major happened with you. That's first and foremost, but then to just your positive outlook on everything. Like, I'll be honest, I've never even seen you at the track mad. Like,
me neither. I was going to say that.
Blew one up or not. I mean, hell, at the last race, Dustin will tell you, I got so mad. Now, this is granted, like, I made one of the worst mistakes I've made in years, and Dustin can verify it. We won't go into it, but I effed up a round so bad that was like, so I had won it, right? I'd won it before we even like got to the 60-foot cone. I messed it up, Rodney. I had to drive to the store as I still had alcohol at my camp just to get away from everybody and buy more alcohol because it seemed like the right decision to do. That's how mad I was. That's how freaking mad I was. And I mean, like, not a lot gets me, upset now, but I'm just point blank. I've never witnessed you. I mean, I'm sure it's happened before, but yeah, just your outlook in general. So
his excuse was he had to go get gas for the generator.
That was my excuse.
Yeah, I mean, I think, one of those things. I used to get pretty upset over things, and I might mouth off or have something to say, but now it's like, with the kids and the family and the rest of the team that's there, it's like, you don't want to, your attitude is kind of like, I'll say perpetuates into everyone else. Right. So I try not to get a crappy attitude, because then everybody else kind of like gets on edge at the same time.
Yeah, well, being upset ain't going to fix it, make it better, change it. So you might as well just be positive and go, oh, well, it is what it is,
Yeah. But I think a lot of times they get more upset than I do. Like the things, the things that are going wrong, or you broke an engine and you got to thrash to get it back together. I think they get more spun up than I do about it, because I've been there numerous times, right? And it's like, and and I tell them, I'm either going to make it around there or I'm not going to make it around there. If I do, I do. If I don't, I don't. If they go down the track without me, I can't help it.
They just want to see you win, though. Like, you have the best crew cheering for you at all times. Like, I'm jealous. Like, I'm usually by myself. Ain't nobody. When I win, everybody just walks away, pissed off. So I'm like, man, I need to get me a crew like that. They're always happy.
For the most part. And it's kind of cool also that they and they my kids kind of hang with some of the other competitors' kids. So,
they do.
They kind of lift one another up when something doesn't go right for their dad, and
that's cool.
I've also seen them, cheer for others, not just you. Like, they cheer for, other teammates, and it's cool. Like, you got a really good crew.
Yeah, for sure.
So that interview, did you have any
how
thought?
long it take to get what was that?
Yeah. So how long did
they were there?
They were there.
It was funny because I it's an interesting part of the story, because I was on fire. And
it's not funny, sorry, but
and I got So I get the story. I don't. Well, you probably heard it through the interview, but the people on here haven't heard it. It broke the rod. I guess the oil that came out of the engine when it broke the rod kind of flashed fire on the header.
Right.
So that was burning, and then, I saw it light up, and I saw the flames out the right side of my windscreen. So I sat up and kind of sat back on the second hump, just to kind of get away from it a little bit. And I was like, man, it's still burning. So, and it was getting kind of hot on my right leg. So I was like, all right, so if it keeps burning, I'm going to have to figure out when I'm going to get off of this thing. And then I just I thought like, oh, wait a minute. The ignition was still on,
okay.
So I was like, all right, I turned the ignition off, and apparently it was still, because it was still RPM, right? RPM were still up. So it was still firing
the injectors and the fuel. Yeah.
And there was just a hole there, right? The fuel was going right out the cylinder, right?
It was a torch.
Yeah. So that was what was fueling the fire. So as soon as I cut the ignition off, the injectors cut off and the fire kind of died down. So at that point in time, I was just doing my normal shutdown. I tapped the brakes a couple of times, and they felt like they were not going to slide the front tire. The first time I grabbed them, and it did this number, so I kind of let go of the brake, and it, kind of let it kind of get some of the oil off the tire and just kind of eased on them. And I pulled around, and EMT was right there. So as soon as I pulled around EMT, they met me. But then it was weird that as soon as I pulled around the corner, they were taking off going the other direction up the track. And I was sitting down there I was like, did Jordan fall? Because I was thinking that Jordan might have fallen in my oil or something like that.
Oh, that's a bad feeling.
Because I think Jordan was beside me. Yeah. So I'm like, damn, did Jordan fall? I was like, where's he at? What's going on? And they were like, no, Jordan's up. I guess they were just going to go help with the cleanup, but it was all flashing lights and everything heading that direction. So that was probably the most concerning part of the whole ordeal, was I thought Jordan might have fallen and was on the track. But as the EMT was right here, and they were looking at me, and I was like, yeah, I'm okay. Nothing. I'm not burnt. I'm not burnt or anything. They made me take my gloves off to make sure my hands look right. And that I didn't have any holes in my leathers from burns or whatever. I guess that may have taken 20-30 seconds. Mm-hmm. And as soon as I looked to my left, the Motor Mania, is that who was there?
It might have been Flow Racing.
It was Flow Racing. Yeah.
Flow Racing, yeah. The Flow Racing guy was right there. He was like, oh yeah. You all right? And then right away he was like, okay, we got to do an interview, right in the kind of right in the thick of things.
The smoke ain't even settled yet.
Nothing like the heat of the moment, man, because if nothing else, you got a memorable interview from that. That was very viral worthy after that.
Yeah, that was kind of cool. And he was like, I can't remember how it went, but he was like, is everything good? He's like, yeah, I'm good. I was like, I thought my marshmallows were going to be, a little toasty when I got down here, but it was all
man, that good. Was the funniest thing ever when you did that. I was like, man, I was sending them to your wife and everything. Here's these clips, because that's going to be memories that last forever.
Just the fact that you're watching it after that, but to have the composure and to even. Just, I don't know, that's just you, but to just off the cuff come up with that stuff. I mean, I can't even imagine if somebody stuck a camera in my face after that.
Oh, I'd have been cussing and going hoorah and all this stuff, and he just smooth sailing right through that bad boy.
Yeah. Sure. So I wasn't aware exactly how bad the damage was. I thought I was hoping that it didn't tear up the header and the turbo system the way it did. I knew we had engines, to put back in there, but it beat it up a little bit worse than I was expecting. But we were able to get it together and get back out there and race on Sunday. Definitely wasn't 100%, but we'll fix it and get everything right for the new.
Yeah, for sure. So you just you're just that much into it. There's no, I guess you don't get bored, I guess was my point. You're not getting bored with
How
Pro
can
Street.
you? That damn thing's nuts.
No, man. We're winning and having a good time with it. Um, I mean, it's still like I still have something to do, like to try to go faster.
Right.
So I don't get bored with it at all. Hopefully we fix some of our weak points in the off season, and we can step on them a little bit harder this season. I'm kind of excited to get out and test, and
Yeah.
I've been not wanting to tweak my chassis any, but I'll need to, because I'm not dead on all the rules, that I can try to take advantage of. So
Yeah.
got to make a few changes and see if we can improve on that too, chassis and engine and everything. So
Yeah, for sure. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
I guess that is a little bit different since Dustin and I primarily are, bracket index racers. Is that I guess if we keep winning enough, it's like you said, I was like, what else do you do? But at least you have the goal of always trying to go quicker and faster, so that is kind of cool to have that. I mean,
And plus, he's riding a missile, and we're just riding bikes we can ride backwards, So
yeah, man, that's scary. I'll be honest, Rodney. Like there was a point in time where I probably did, want to ride Pro Street, but I don't. Man, I just don't. Y'all are flying. I mean,
Yeah.
230 effing miles an hour just blows. And I'll tell you why it blows my mind too, is because I've been not quite that fast, but I went land speed racing once and I went 227, which like
mhm.
that's not slow, right? But like it wasn't even the speed, because land speed racing, there was no feeling of acceleration. It was just, I had a mile, just ease into it, no traction, so just ease into it. So there was no perception of acceleration, so it didn't even seem fast. But after the fact, like that night and the next day, I'm like, I've crashed at 160, but 230 is a different story. And also land speed racing a little different, but just having been 227, like I don't know, like just the speed y'all are
I definitely
going,
wouldn't go 220 nothing on the land in the land speed environment because
of
um
how long you're doing it.
how long you're doing it, and
Yeah.
like usually if something happens, the bike or something starts to dig in, to the ground, and you start tumbling. So and it usually doesn't end well.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
So I'd rather fall off on the drag strip at 230 than fall off on land speed at 220 or even 200.
Look, I know I'm round and I might think I roll like a ball, but I don't want no part of the asphalt either. I'm good. I'm just going to try to keep my rubber down on mine. No.
I mean, I like it that way, but
Yeah.
if I had my rathers,
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
No, y'all.
But
That's just
for me,
scary.
I tell people, I'm like, once you do it,
So long.
yeah, and you do it, you get some laps under your belt. You don't really feel. It's kind of like saying, I don't feel the speed. The only
Right.
time I really feel the speed is when something doesn't go right. Like if
Yeah.
something's not going right and you're trying to correct the bike, and you get your head or your body outside of the windscreen, and then you're fighting the wind at that
Yeah.
point. So that's when it gets a little wild. I've had you know, instances where I was trying to steer the bike, get outside of the windscreen, after the 8th mile, and for whatever reason, the wind got under my helmet,
Oh gosh.
and the very next thing that happened when the wind gets under my helmet, it's like a sail. So the helmet does this number, the visor goes up, and then the visor becomes an even bigger sail because
Yeah.
catching all the wind, and it's like all you can do to pull your head back down. I probably went from the 8th mile to the 1,000-foot mark looking at the clouds,
Oh, goodness.
thinking I was getting ready to come off the
Yeah.
bike. And the funny thing is, like, when you're doing that, there's like almost no way that you can let go of the throttle,
Right.
like roll the throttle off,
because it's got you straightened out. Yeah.
It's pulling you back this way. So it's like, okay, I'm gonna just take a little grip off the handlebar just to kind of let it kind of roll itself back.
Yeah. Thank God it snaps back, huh?
Goodness.
So next time I see you randomly let out at like 1,000 after hanging off the bike, I'll understand exactly what happened.
Yeah. The wind was under my helmet at that time.
He turned into a parachute.
That's where I think some of the that's where I think everybody needs to realize, like all the new riders, anybody trying to get into this quarter mile, I would say anything over 150 miles per hour in a quarter mile. When you finish the run, don't sit up.
Yeah, no.
Stay under the windscreen until you get to a point where you're 70, 80 miles per hour, and then you sit up and there's nothing to it. Yeah. But if you let that wind hit you in the chest, 150 plus, it's gonna try to pull you off.
Yeah, I've watched some racers even to this day, like they'll cross the finish line and just sit straight up real quick. It's like, man, like it was almost his job. He sit up so quick.
Right.
And I just think I'm already a parachute, right? So I'm like, no, I'll do it a little if I have to, but at 150 it ain't as bad. But when you're going 230, that's a big deal. You got to be careful.
Yeah, it'll pull you off like quick.
Yeah,
like before you even realize what's happening. So,
yeah.
So tell us or tell the listeners a little bit about this, because I'm fairly sure about this, but you can correct me. You do have a regular day job, right?
Yeah, I do. I'm a finance guy.
Okay. That's how you can make sense of this racing and the money in.
I don't know. Yeah, he's probably always like the devil and the angel all the time.
Yeah. I'm a finance guy for I'll call it medical aesthetics company.
Okay.
So I've only been with this company for a couple of years now. I worked in medical device and diagnostics company, similar roles. For probably
hospital standalones, basically.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, exactly. So previous company was around like testing for different pathogens that can be in your body, and how do you address those pathogens with the right amount of antibiotics.
Yeah,
basically to kind of like not overtreat. And then this company's about toxins. So if you or any of the folks out there like to get toxins or fillers, we might be able to help you out. So
cool.
So that's my day job. So yeah, I have a day job. I have wife, 6 kids. Wife, my lovely wife Amber, and 6 kids, 2 sets of twins. So they keep us busy.
It's only 6. I'm not even joking. I really thought you had more than 6 kids.
Well, I usually have extras that come with us to every race. Okay. But I have 6 that are mine and Amber's.
He's got the adopted children coming with him too.
Yeah, and the rest just kind of come hang out. So we got the shop.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to get into. Tell everybody a little bit about what Williford Racing is, and do you all take work in for people? I mean, like if you do, promote that a little bit, like kind of let everybody know how that functions, or if that's just kind of race team only with some stuff. I mean,
yeah, I mean, so it's tough because I have a good number of racers that I kind of work with and support right now. So I don't take a lot of new work in. I kind of focus on supporting the bikes that are with us now and kind of like racing in the group. But I'll build engines for folks. We have 5-axis CNC port heads and valve jobs and stuff like that for folks that are kind of like just need a head ported. But in terms of like building full bikes and take them to the track and tuning them and maintaining them, I try not to take any new stuff in, just because we got so much going on already.
Maxed out
and
already.
Especially when it gets to be race season, and everybody's going to a race, and then everybody needs to freshen up, and if you got broken things, you can barely get all that done and make it to the next race. So that's kind of the way that I kind of manage things right now.
Basically, if you want to head ported, right now is the time to get it done, because in race season you're too busy. That's kind of what I mean. That's the way I am too. Like, I'm more available now than I am during race season, because I might have to go to a race back-to-back weekends. Sometimes it gets nuts. So.
Yeah, and I don't get to the shop like weeknights. I work in Raleigh during the day, so it's a 45-minute drive. So if I make it to the shop, I make it to the shop for an hour, 2 at the max. Yeah. And then on the weekends, like you said, when available, when I'm not doing other things, I'll go to the shop and get as many hours in as I can. But, like this past weekend, I was in there doing stuff, and, I was like, man, I better get some heads together for the season. So I, kind of round the clocked it for a couple of days, and ported 4 heads to get them ready for the season. So
the perk of having 6 kids is they can be in there helping. I'm just saying.
They could. Sometimes it's like where they're in there beating on things that don't really need to get beat on.
Yeah, it could get rough.
Well, that, and also,
what happened to that damn valve shield? It's down the intake.
Their favorite thing is to go find some metal and then go straight to the belt sander and start making sparks right now.
Oh, that's all right. Sounds a little dangerous, but it's all right.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and some of your kids are very active in activities, dance and whatnot too. So I mean, I just can't even. And Dustin will tell you, I got spreadsheets, it got reminders. My wife will tell you my phone's blowing up with reminders. I got calendars, and it's like, I can't imagine just even one day of what your schedule looks like, because mine seems like it's a cluster every day. So yeah, hats off to you on getting everything done.
Same exponentially, but I'll say Amber takes care of 95% of all of the scheduling and working out schedules, with the kids. Yes, she sends me where do I need to be and at what time, and I just have to follow those.
It sounds like she's your brain or memory like mine is. My lady's my memory. I always tell her that. I'm like, remind me, and she will every time. Yeah. I'm like, all right, thank you. That's why I married you, because I can't remember nothing.
I'll call Dustin and like whatever in the evenings. I'll be like, hey, what about this in a couple of weeks? And he's like, Tamara, what are we doing there? I'm like, he's like, man, I don't know. I don't even have a schedule. I'm like, let's go to this car race in like 2 months. He's like, man, I can't think that far away. And I'm like, just put it on your calendar. Otherwise,
I don't have a calendar.
Yeah, he doesn't have it. Aside from the races he knows for a fact, like from this day forward that he's going to. Otherwise, I can't commit to
If it's XDA, I promise I'll be there. I don't know how many weeks it's away, but I'll be there. Yeah. That's all I can tell you.
Yeah, for sure.
Following the XDA schedule.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So I'm like that. I put down all my XDA schedule stuff, and then I pepper in the grudge races as I can make myself available for those. So it's kind of the same mentality.
What talking about grudge, what would you prefer? Is it Pro Street all the way, or you got a little kick out of doing some grudge racing here and there when we see you? I
like doing the grudge. I like it's you kind of get a little bit of flavor for everything. Most of the time when I describe the two, it's like XDA or the Pro Street for us is kind of like sanctioned, structured, and you kind of know like what you get, what's going to happen. The grudge events, it's unsanctioned, not as much structure, but it's still fun because you can sit around and you can bet a little bit, you can hang out, talk some trash. I went to the race down in Orlando and ended up winning the middleweight class.
Yeah.
So I won the middleweight class down there. So that was kind of cool because I know I can't compete with those 100-pound jockeys on those flyweight bikes. So we took a bike down and I was able to compete in the middleweight, and it was fun. Nitrous bike. You wouldn't normally expect.
No, I've seen that. I'm like, check him out. He's out there with nitrous. I like it.
We've seen those nitrous bikes dabble in your camp from here to there. Year to year. I remember, what was that one that had the really sick paint job? What was it, like a bomber or something? Wasn't that out of your camp there?
I don't remember. Yeah, that was true. That was
Didn't Jordan ride it or somebody?
Yeah,
what was his name?
Bad news.
Yeah. Caleb, that's it. Yeah.
So that bike, yep. So I kind of like, same situation. Like it was, I stepped away from the grudge race stuff because my schedule, kind of wasn't allowing it, and now it's like, all right. I enjoyed that. I'd like to get back out there and make those races when I can.
Right.
I got a bike that I can at least compete with. So.
Well, I mean, they also have big payouts, man. So you get out there and get you some change to buy parts or whatever. It's, if you win, it's. Yeah. I mean, you're in the class enough to know that you should be out there. You just got to have time, really. So it makes sense.
Yeah, for sure. Like that was like the bike that I rode. That I didn't go down there. I wasn't even locked into that race. I went down there, with the idea that I would just test the bike, kind of get some laps on it, because I didn't have time during the XDA events to get some solid laps on it. So I went down there to Orlando, and on the testing day it went good, and just so happened, somebody didn't enter on race day, so I was able to get their spot and ended up winning the event. So that's
awesome.
Nothing like the last minute alternate coming in and stealing all the glory. That's bad.
Yeah, it's like surprise.
Surprise, I'm here. That's cool. That's cool, man.
Yes.
What would you say, or have you any thoughts on like Pro Street in the future? Is there anything you'd like to see? Any ideas, whether it be, for bigger events or getting new people in, or is there a point? And I know you'll probably cringe when I say this, but is there a point where it's getting too fast? I know you might cringe at that one.
I don't know. It's tough because everybody kind of wants to see us go. I think the people in the class that have been there a while are all shooting to go a 620 something.
Right.
So I think that we would all be disappointed if there was a push to slow down. So I think 620s is fast, super fast. And it might end up hurting the class in terms of participation if the
620s happen, it's going to run people off because they'll know they can't go there, they can't get there.
Yeah, so it's one of those things where we want to go faster. Is it the right thing to do for the class? I don't know.
Well, I was about to say that, like, for you, your personal goals, what drives you to do it is setting those goals. So if they took it and slowed it down, it would kind of take the air out of your sail. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I think it might be. I'm getting old. I'm not going to race forever. But if they did slow us, if they did say we're going to slow you guys back to the 650s, I probably wouldn't have an interest in the class anymore. But that's not to say that 10 other people might have interest at 650s. You know what I'm saying?
We'll just see you in grudge until you just give up or retired or whatever. Because you want to go fast. That's kind of what drives you, is the speed, the thrill of setting records. That's the only thing about grudge that you probably don't like, is there's no records, there's no reachable goal that you can say that you earned it.
Yeah, but we all know, even Dustin, like, come on, Dustin, you and I both know way too much for not even being in the grudge scene. We know that Rodney knows what's going on.
Yeah. He knows who's fast and who ain't.
They might not have physical tickets in their hand of everybody, but they know what's going on.
Yeah. You can about figure it out within a few hundreds most of the time.
We know who's swinging one through there.
In the grudge world, it's like, it's probably, I don't know. People throw numbers out there just to throw other people off. So
Right.
there's a good bit of falsehood out there. There's some fast bikes, but I think it's one of those things where even the fast bikes have problems at times. And the ones that are in the top, I would say 3 or 4. So that makes it interesting. Because people they see some of the top tier bikes get beat on, a spin or a wheelie or something weird happens. And everybody's interested because the top dog got beat. At this
They're
event.
human. They can see that they can lose, and it draws them in, which makes sense. The track sometimes is the equalizer, really. We've been to some tracks that ain't as good as others. For some reason, I think Maryland's always a little better than Virginia. That's just my opinion. And I feel like some of the grudge guys can go faster at Maryland in the summer than they can at Virginia in the summer, from what I've seen. And everybody's probably different depending on the setup, but there's always going to be that variable of the fast guy just wanting to go for it all and blowing the tire off. It's racing. Yeah. Anything can happen. So
I totally agree. I mean, it's one of those things where I always used to say, Maryland was my preferred track. But I would say over the last 3 years, that little hump in the transition right there, at the 330 has it sank a little bit more.
Yeah.
So we sometimes have issues getting through that part of the track. So it's almost like I'd like to have a 330 like Virginia.
And then the back half
line like Maryland. If we can put a starting line like Maryland, and the 330 like Virginia, I think that would be the best track we ever been on before.
Yeah, there's something about Maryland's surface. It works on the stickiness side of it. Like, as long as it ain't freezing cold. If it's cold, might get a little iffy. But in the summer, that track's tight no matter what, always, if it's warm out.
Mm-hmm. We've talked even some, and I don't know if this is something that y'all talk about and kind of the pro pits, but I don't know. It seems like since the VHT shortage with COVID and all that and all, like, just from our perspective, Dustin and I've talked a lot because like we've battled in the last year or so some weird, not normal for us bracket racer type traction issues, and I don't know, it just seems like maybe the compound has changed or something's a little different. I mean, have you noticed anything like that or any thoughts on that?
I would say so. Yeah, there's a lot of talk around the byproduct that they used for the actual stickiness in when that wasn't being made anymore. They came up with some other chemical compounds, to kind of offset that or supplement. So yeah, there's probably something in the formula that's different than it was 3 years ago.
Right. But you just got to use what you got. If you can't get the other stuff anymore, then we all got to adapt to it, So that right there itself will slow stuff down, if the track ain't like it was.
Or we need to reinstitute, the American stamp.
And make our own stuff.
Well, that's where that byproduct was from. So I don't know if you guys knew the story. The main chemical component that was in your traction compound was a manufacturing byproduct from the glue that goes on the back of the stamps that you'd buy, like U.S. postal stamps.
No kidding. I did not know that. Well, hell, we'll just gather all our stamps up. We'll be all right.
So now that less people are doing actual stamps, they cut back on a lot of that processing, and there was, that byproduct really dried up. From what I understand. So
wow. That's probably the best thing I've learned in a while. That's interesting.
I did not know that.
What it was. I actually knew the chemical name for it, when everyone was kind of talking about it, but I've forgotten since then.
Well, we don't need to go up there and start licking the racetrack to make it stickier, right?
I
want to be right here. Start licking.
You know how it always seems to get better after like just a little bit of mist.
Yeah.
Just a little bit of mist, and they go out there and drag it real quick, and it's way better than it was before.
You could be onto something. Never know.
For sure. Here's something that I got to put a little caveat on that because I don't want. Well, first off, Jason ain't gonna freaking listen to this, but on the off chance he did, this is not a dig. I love Jason to death. I have a great relationship with him, and there's no better series race than XDA. I mean, like that's kind of
it's top tier, top level,
especially for your particular class. But one thing when I was there, running Real Street a little bit, man, and I know, and there's more to this than just throwing this out here, but I really, really wanted to see like the purses grow in Pro Street and Real Street. And part of this, and I brought it up to Jason, and those are our premier classes, right? And that's, and he talks about y'all bringing in the fans, which I agree wholeheartedly. Like you're coming to watch those two classes.
Hell, we go watch them.
Yeah. Like we love watching them. And to me, it was just like, y'all are racing. We'll just call them $100,000 bikes. Fair for $5,000, right? And then Real Street, I feel like you're racing a minimum of a $50,000 bike for $2,000. So I just, and I know it's easy to just say it should be a bigger purse, right? It's got to come from somewhere. So, what do you think? Do you think bigger purses would do anything for, competitors? Do you think that would draw people in, or it wouldn't really matter?
I don't know. It's like, I think at the end of the day, I mean, I'd love to have a bigger purse for my own selfish reasons.
That's all of us. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because I've done pretty well over the years. But, at the same time, I don't think any of us go for the money, really. You know what I'm saying? You
better not be because it's a dead end road a lot of times if you are for any racer.
For 95% of the folks that go, they're taking a loss that weekend.
I mean, you're right. You are right in that circumstance, 100%.
I do think that the big payout does draw more Pro Street because it seems like the Battle Royale they used to have or whatever was always a lot of Pro Street bikes there. Always. Like for that race. I feel like it drawed a lot in, even just to be there for the event itself, maybe not even the money. So I do think if they had something special like that, it would always bring a bunch in for that.
I think you're right. And I think, but that came because the entry fee wasn't higher. Yeah. There were sponsors that they
it was sponsored money, right?
To be able to offer a higher purse, which it's almost like the atmosphere thing, and there's a draw because
it's like the World Cup, right?
Everybody's going to be looking at it. So, but if I would say if someone said we're going to bump the entry fee to $400 and move the purses up, I think I don't know that would bring more people.
No, I think that would hurt it. I think what you're saying is right, and I guess I said it wrong. I think a big purse that's sponsored and not out of the racer's pocket because there's not enough of y'all to make it work, it would draw more. But if the entry fee went up, then there's some racers that just go for the good time and to be in the class and enjoy the class and try to set a personal best and all that. They would probably maybe bow out, Yeah, I agree with that. I would love to see it. Of course, any motorcycle drag racing class prosper, though. Like I'm always, me and Ben, that's really why we do this. We do this to try to help the sport grow and get people interested, even if it's a new guy that's in street ET on a stock bike or someone going from top sportsman to Pro Street, like whatever it takes to make the sport continue on and,
That's why I had
work.
to throw that disclaimer in there. I was like, gosh forbid, I don't want to.
No, I mean, we've had Jason on here and, all that good stuff.
I definitely wanted your opinions. I guess I'm just the weird egg, that I'm like, all right, well, some rules changed in Real Street. I'm just kind of over that. And it's like, okay, I'll just slow the bike up and go race for, $7,000 in top sportsman and Pro ET. It's like, and not tear anything up. So, that was just one of those things, but I was interested to, hear your opinion on it. Did we lose you? I think we're froze up.
We might have lost him. We may have lost him.
We got this like.
Oh, I heard a piece of him. Oh, he's gone.
Ooh, technical difficulties.
All right. Well, we had Rodney on. Oh, he's back.
He's coming back in. Bear with us.
Yeah.
We'll get him in here and then wrap this bad boy up since it is getting close to 10 o'clock.
Guys, can you hear
me? There you are.
Yes, we are back.
Yeah.
I was like, man, you really...
I'm on an Ethernet connection, so I'm not sure why it got really crappy there. Sorry about that.
No, you're all right.
You're good, man. You're good. This is that's just part of it.
This is part of the show.
I don't know what you heard, but I was like saying how I was, I'm just the weird egg that, was like, hey, rules change. I don't want to change my bike. I'm tired of tearing stuff up. I'll just actually slow the bike up and race for $7,000 in bracket race. And then you had like it froze on you, and I was like, "Wow, Rodney really had no feelings on that comment."
I didn't hang up. I didn't hang up on you, but no, that's not a bad route because you're making it less hard on your pocket in terms of parts breakage and more potential for payout. So
yeah, for sure.
I get that, and I think the reason why that works for you is because you've got a good number more entries, even though it's smaller per bike, you get to race for a bigger purse, right? I don't know how many people typically race to get into Pro ET.
Yeah, I mean it's a good number for sure. I mean you're 100 plus bikes, I think, pretty much every event. So I mean it all makes sense, and I've been there. I've been on the drag strip side. I've run events, so I've also forgotten a lot of shits over the years. So that's just like I said. I just kind of want to get your feel on it, but that makes sense. I mean it's good, and I like the knowledge that you're putting out for even like the casual listener, because it's good for them to hear. We gotta get Dustin's mic to calm down with AC. What's that?
Oh, yeah, 5-ton heat pump. It's loud.
Dustin's AC kicks on. It sounds like we're in a wind tunnel. But
I know. Yeah, it sounds like he was in there testing some of them damn DME aerodynamics parts.
Oh man, yeah. So that was just one of those things that I was interested to hear for sure.
No, I mean, everyone wants to have race for bigger purse, but at the same time, we do have bigger purses, at those grudge events, but we're risking a lot more, to get into those events, right? We're paying, no less than $1,000, to enter in, and sometimes up to $5,000, just to enter in to get a chance. So there's a risk versus reward there.
Something Pro Street has too is thanks to Ralphie, you guys get to go to the World Cup if you do the top 8 or whatever at XDA. So that right there alone is motivation for all y'all to be at all the XDAs. Just to, I know everybody chases first, right? But if you make the World Cup, I feel like that's an experience in itself. So
it is. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and big thanks to Ralphie. Ralphie's always supported the class and XDA and the racing in general. So I haven't seen him out there much this year, but for sure he's a big part of it.
Yeah, I mean that is one of those things where, and I recalled what I was trying to say. It's good to hear you talking about like, hey, 90% of people, racers, know that we're just out here having a fun hobby, because there's still some people that like will get into drag racing, like, oh, I gotta get sponsored, and like Rodney does this as full time and blah blah blah, and you probably know too that like a lot of people think that like every NHRA pro stock motorcycle racer, like that's their job, which is like really not
far from
accurate.
The truth.
Yeah, it's like the farthest from the truth. Like
1% of them has no job.
Yeah, so
yeah,
I think it's just good for listeners and fans to hear that as well, because even just airing that idea out, it's like, man, you're right, because here we are, and Dustin and I have been told don't apologize, because we always try to be humble and not be arrogant sounding, but like the point of the matter is I've won a lot. Dustin's won a shit ton, and you have completely won as much as anybody, more than anybody in Pro Street. It's got to be hands down. So like, it's easy for us to be like, yeah, let's get a bigger purse. But then, like you said, at the end of the day, all you're doing is costing the other part of the field a lot extra money when in their mind, they probably know that they don't have as good a chance anyways. So yeah, you're right.
I mean, me and Ben are the guys that go to the semis and go home. If we lose, go home with our lip stuck out. And then you have to remind yourself that, there's a lot more losers than there are winners. And you just got to be thankful that you can go there and have all the memories that you get with your friends. Like we preach that on here a lot. Mine and Ben's personal favorite part of racing in this point in our careers of racing is the hanging out in the evenings with our friends and, eating or whatever we do as a ritual. That right there alone, the memories. To be honest, we could probably be rich if we had videos of some of the stuff that we've all done in the evenings, but that's what makes them special, is because you don't have a video and you can't watch it over and over. All you have is your memory. So I guess if something ever happens and we lose our memory, that's going to be the biggest loss for all of us that race, because the people in motorcycle drag racing are so unique and a special breed of people that I can't. Realistically, if you go to the racetrack, you're not going to have a bad time if you're with your friends, period.
Oh, no, I've never had a bad time at the racetrack. It's that's the thing. We do the racing thing and because that's what we love to do. But I think, you'll never find a better group of people that are, more willing to help one another and support one another, cheer for one another. Like these folks do, because how hard it was to get to where you are in your own, career or what you're trying to do. But then you can see other people, achieving some of their goals or doing well, and you get behind them too. So
yeah, I mean, there's my dad used to travel back in the IDBA. I've been watching old videos, so it brings it all back to me, and never won a race. Never. And it's some of the greatest memories for me, just because, it was cool as a kid to be at the racetrack and all this stuff. And not a lot's changed, like looking at older videos and seeing the crowds and the people there, except we're not as tough as that generation. Like in the early 90s, them guys were ruthless, man. They were so tough. And, just the type of bikes they rode and no safety gear and guardrails, and they just didn't care. We're turning into sissies, I guess. Or we're going a lot faster, too. Let's just remember that. But the people and the memories, like I've seen some videos of RJ's dad, and I sent them to him in Messenger because he has none. And I heard his name on a video, and I would record it and send it to him just because, when are you going to ever see that again? So
that's super cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
The people they just make it. The people for sure make it what it is.
I would love to see, though, because I am jealous of the World Cup deal. That would probably be one of the only things that would actually spike my interest in Real Street again, and that would be if we got a similar deal where top 10 got to go to World Cup, because then I would probably have to rethink my Real Street situation.
That's actually not a bad idea.
It's cool, but at the end, yes, it's an experience,
right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's
not like an XDA.
It's not like XDA. They try to have a schedule, but it's usually always behind schedule because of the oil downs and just carnage. Everybody's just
crashes,
they're like me 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Yes.
We're gonna go fast or we're gonna break it, and 50% of them break it. So that's what you're going to see a lot of. I know that the crowd loves it, and they like to see the excitement and the cars getting sideways and scraping the wall and all that. But for us guys that are just trying to wait for the round and get down the track,
it wears on you.
It's a long wait for a little bit.
Just take your leathers off and chill out if you ain't got nothing to fix.
The nicest part is we don't have to sit in the lanes for hours. We're a small enough group and we got our shit together that they call us within 10 minutes of making the run. We go up there, we pull straight to the staging lane, and make our passes.
Yeah, so, that's cool. Yeah. Well, that's really good. Actually, you guys get a little bit of a privilege. I mean, really, because I've seen the lines of the car guys. They're lined up to the back, and it looks like they've been sitting there for a while. So, for once, the biker trash gets a perk.
Yeah, sure. They know that we're ready. So they when they make the call, we know that we're going to be going down the track in probably 20 minutes or less.
Yeah, nice.
Heck yeah. We are nearing 10 o'clock, so we want to let Rodney get off here. But Dustin, did you have anything else that was bending your brain that you wanted to talk with Rodney about?
No, I mean, you kind of went over the stuff that I had when you asked him questions. I'm still bumfuzzled about the stamp thing. I'm gonna start licking the racetrack, I guess.
I'm glad to know. I'm glad to know more of the history. I could have sworn there was going to be.
I mean, of course, he bracket raced. Like bracket racers. I mean, I feel like that's the start for all of it. For the most part, anybody that races anything fast, for the most part, is bracket raced at least once. And some of them quit. Some of them quit because it's hard, and they can afford to go fast. I love hearing it.
That's what we need. We need a pro bracket race. Like,
that would be cool.
Rodney,
all the pros,
Jason, as many pros as we can, and just let y'all bracket race.
Look, he's like, oh hell no.
I could probably do it. I still got my old Outlaw chassis, but it's got like a little head and cam Busa motor on it.
Oh man, I done figured. You know what's going to happen? Rodney will be riding RJ's Top Sportsman bike, which is a Pro Street looking job. You know what I mean? Like, it would be destiny. We could do this. We could supply bikes.
That's what I was going to say. I was going to say we could gather up like 8 to 16 of y'all, and I'm sure we could get 16 bikes. Hell, I mean, I got 3 or 4 in the garage right now. Dustin has 2 or 3. I mean, we could get this done. We could.
That would be cool. That would be cool. All right, we're going to call Jason.
yeah, for sure. Well, 2 last little quick things. So, just for y'all listening, I had messaged Rodney. It was like probably a week or 2 before World Cup, I think. And I asked Rodney, I said, hey man, Dustin, I'd love to get you on the podcast. We want to get some more pros on here and kind of just, we, like Dustin said, we just want to hit as much of our small community as possible. So we don't want to just be all bracket index. We like just talking with fellow racers. But you said yes, love to join y'all. Let's wait till after World Cup. And Dustin will vouch for me. I got on the phone. I said, look, Rodney said he's going to come on, but after World Cup, I said, I'm just telling you, in my mind, that immediately triggered Rodney. I was like, he's getting ready to flop it all out and go 620s there. I know for a fact I told Dustin that. I was
he did say that.
He wants to make sure that that's done first, which I know you probably just had a lot of shit going on. But in my mind, I was like, Rodney's winding up for that 620 at World Cup.
I was trying. It didn't happen. The moon and the stars didn't align. But that was back to my point between, we just raced in October and we had to tear all the bikes apart that were going to World Cup and get engines back together, just to get there. So that was
for sure
really why I was like, okay, let me do it after World Cup so I can focus on getting all the bikes.
Together. Yeah, you got a bunch of bikes that's tired from racing all year, and then you got to try to patch them up for one more hoorah, basically.
Yeah. Well, we're super thankful that you joined us for an hour and a half out of your busy schedule. And then real quick, is there anybody in particular, any sponsors, anybody you need to thank or shout out? Feel free to shout them out, because we know you got a bunch of people and a family and friends supporting you.
Well, mainly just, my wife, Amber, all the kids. I'm going to name them all: Skylar, Cheyenne, Sadie, Sawyer, Sailor, Sutton. Did you know they all started with S's?
I did not.
No, I did not.
Now I do.
Now you're going to really like this one, but I'm not going to tell you all the background. They all start with S's. They all have 6 letters, and they all have a Y in them somewhere.
Wow.
My oldest daughter came up with the suggestions for all the ones after her, so that's why it's set up that way.
That's some Fabian trivia for some down.
Yeah, you have to tell us about that at some point. Yeah, that's cool.
And I know you asked about sponsors. Like, pretty much it's like all the contingency sponsors. I don't really have any like I would say like main like part sponsors or anything like that. I try to keep myself flexible, and not tied to any particular deal.
Yeah.
But I do work with APE a lot on, valve train stuff. And I like to shout him out because he does help me out with valve train stuff. And, outside of that, I try to pay my way, so that I can kind of switch it up and do whatever I want to do.
Do a little R&D, test
out.
You
got to try stuff sometimes, man. I get it.
Hey, it's nothing wrong with that. Like Dust and I, we were telling our school members in our bracket school we got going on. We went over some sponsorship stuff, 2 months ago, and I just told them, I was like, look, to do this right, it's work. Like it's also work, like to do a good job for sponsors and partnerships, like it's work. So I told them, I was like, if y'all can afford what you need, why even bother? Like it's helpful, but it's also work to make it a good partnership. So hey, keeping your options open from R&D stuff, and then with all the work y'all do in house, that helps a lot too. So
yeah. So yeah. Well, if I see something that looks cool and want to try it, let's do it.
Heck yeah.
As opposed
to.
The
only way you're going to find out is put it in there and try it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So.
Heck yeah.
Very cool.
Hey, we're gonna let you get off here. Now we know the goals for 2024, and we know what that
step
number
on
is.
It.
So looking forward to cheering y'all on this year, and man, we just can't wait to see y'all again at the track. And I always enjoy, when I'm welcomed with open arms by your whole team and family, at 1, 2 in the morning when I finally stumbled on through. So I always appreciate that, because it's always an enjoyable time. I don't usually remember much, but I know I have fun.
Always welcome, as usual, right? Always welcome. But yeah, man, looking forward to it. When is it? April.
Yeah.
So looking forward to April, and if you guys got anything else or any other questions, I'm happy to jump on again. Anytime, man. Anytime.
That's awesome.
Well, how about this, Rodney? We'll make you a deal. When that 620 hits the scoreboard, we want you on.
We'll do it the next Tuesday.
That's all right. Following Tuesday. Sounds like a plan. Lock it in.
Perfect.
All right, brother.
Thank you, man.
Time. Yeah, good night. Thanks, everybody. Everybody, keep watching these guys. They're doing a great job.
See you, buddy.
Rodney.
Thank you.
Thank you.